Last week, the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission released the rules and regulations related to recreational marijuana, sales of which can begin July 1st. The creation of those regulations is just the latest step for the industry here. Next, those interested in running pot shops will need to apply for a license from the commission. And if you were hoping to run a cafe or other such place to consume pot in public, you'll have to wait. The commission opted to license stores first. And that decision was the first thing I asked Commission Chairman Stephen Hoffman about when he joined me in the studio.
Well, first of all, it allows us to meet our mandated deadlines of accepting license applications on April 1st, approving applications by June 1st, and having a retail industry in place by July 1st. I should point out that July 1st is not a legislative mandate, it's the expectation of the public, but from day one we've been committed to try to hit that, and we are right now in position to do so.
You're even a little bit ahead of coming out with the regulations a few weeks.
Well, we actually, we finished our job.
On the 23rd.
Yeah, we finished our job, but now they have to go to the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of State, reformats them and promulgates them. So we'll be pretty much on schedule, maybe a day or two ahead of schedule. But
sure.
we've done a lot of work in a relatively short period of time.
The commission has.
Yes.
And I think one of the things it seemed to me reading through the regulations, or most of them anyway, 102 pages, that's a lot to get through.
I'm impressed.
But one of the things the commission worked to do in communities where marijuana has either sent disproportionate numbers of people to jail or negatively impacted them in some way, the commission seems to really want to work in those communities to help this industry work for them. In terms of with nonviolent offenders who may still be in prison because of marijuana offenses, is it time to pardon those people?
That's really not my decision. We are actually set up by a legislative mandate that says that we have to ensure that those people in communities that have been disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs are full participants in this new industry we're standing up, and all of our regulations are intended to enable that and incentivize that. With respect to the criminal justice system,
I
have personal opinions, but it's not really the purview of the commission.
I understand.
I do think the war on drugs has had a disproportionate impact on minorities and certain communities, and I think that's unfair, and I'd love to see it rectified, not just within our commission, but more broadly. But
we've seen it happen to Vermont. Colorado's considering it. I know Governor Baker's not in favor of it, but
I am in a non-political, nonpartisan job, so we're doing our job as mandated by the legislation. But I do certainly appreciate the issue and hope that we rectify it and reconcile it.
Understood. Let's look at one of the elements of the regulations really allocated to be assured to help medical marijuana patients understand that there will be product available for them. I think it's 35%.
35%.
The commission said needs to be set aside. How was that through the public hearing process that you decided on that amount, or where did that number come in?
Yeah, I think the public hearings, the whole process has worked, I think, the way it's supposed to. And just to recap it briefly, we went out and just listened to the public in 8 public listening sessions around the state. I think that was back in October. We then did our draft regulations, published them, and then in, I think, February, we went out and had 10 public hearings around the state, plus we met with interest groups and industry groups as well as elected officials around the state. And we listened to them all, and we heard a lot of things. And one of the things that kept coming up on a regular basis was concern from the medical community or the patient advocate community that they were concerned that there would be a shortage once medical dispensaries added retail, adult retail. And it was compelling. And while we had good faith statements by the dispensaries that they would ensure that, we just thought it was important enough that we'd put a regulation in place. And 35% was reasonable based upon what we saw happen in other states. So like everything else, we try to find the right balance. This industry is going to evolve. July 1st is not the end date, it's the start date. And if we have to modify some of those regulations, including this 35% rule, we will, but that seemed like the best number, and it certainly was a product of the public hearings that we went through.
Interesting to hear you say that you could consider modifying some of the regulations, because I know I've read even among the commission members, you didn't always agree with each other as you were rolling these out.
That's correct. So the law appointed a 5-person, or gave the governor, the attorney general, and the treasurer the right to appoint a 5-person independent commission. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different takes on things, different experiences. And by definition, that's diverse, and it's good. Diversity is a good thing, but it's also messy. The thing that is interesting about this commission, among other things, is that because of the open meeting law, our debates are in public. And the messiness of diversity is in public. But I think that the regulations are much stronger as a result of the fact that there are 5 of us that are coming at this from a very different angle. We all have the same objective, to get this right, but
I
it's
think
a
it'll
little
also
messy.
be relieving for the public to hear, both people who are for and against this
Right.
issue, that this is malleable, right? That this is something that
Yeah,
will be
I don't want to
looked
say
at.
that we're going to change things willy-nilly, but we're going to give the industry a chance to evolve and see how it works, and whether it's regulation changes or whether it's going back to the legislature and saying we need them to make some legislative fixes. That's an option, but to me, it's let's see how this industry rolls out and make sure that we're hitting our objectives, and if not, what do we need to do so.
Public consumption was one of those areas that the commission looked at and said, we're going to take a pause on this one.
Correct.
I know that Governor Baker and others had advocated for that. Why did the commission feel like it was important to take some more time before public consumption sites were something you'd look at?
We just, we got a lot of feedback, not just from the governor and other elected officials, but a lot of feedback on both sides of it. It's an important issue, and we felt like there's some things that we just needed to understand better before we felt comfortable approving those kinds of licenses. And so the whole issue of impairment, driving while impaired is a big issue. The issue of making sure that we keep this out of the hands of people under 21 years old, and how do you do that in a social consumption set? So we wanted to look at some other states who are maybe a little further ahead and just really study the issue a little more. So I think it's an important issue. I'm not going to make a prediction that we're going to approve it, but we're going to study it, and we'll come back and talk about it again in October.
Because it's one of the things I've heard critics say is, okay, so now recreational marijuana is legal, but I can't smoke in my apartment, I can't smoke here or there. How do I use this as an adult?
I completely agree. I think that's an important issue, and that's why we didn't want to just jump into it, but we certainly didn't want to just say, well, we'll get to it sometime. We put a very explicit timeline in place where we'll come back and talk about it and take action on it.
Another thing the commission rolled out when it released the regulations earlier this month was a label that's going to be a warning label that'll be put on these products that shows that this has THC in it, and also that it's something, I think it actually says not for kids.
Not for kids, correct.
So where will those labels appear? Where can people expect to see them?
On one of two things, either the actual package that the product comes in, or if it's something that isn't suitable for that, on the bag, that the package will be carried out of the retail store. But they're big, they're visible, they seem like they're graphically eye-catching, which was our objective. So,
especially, I think, among the parents who are concerned that the edible industry is going to be seen as, kid-friendly, just like vaping has been. It's, it's grape, it's Dorito flavored. There's all sorts of
but
junk.
we've been very explicit in terms of the regulations we've developed with respect to edibles to make them not appear like candy or make them not appealing to people under 21. We've put some restrictions in terms of marketing and advertising because I think some of the other states, quite frankly, have stumbled on this issue, and we've tried very hard to put in place some very strict regulations to ensure that doesn't happen in Massachusetts.
And as the commission has looked at these regulations, broad brushstrokes, you're putting these out here for the state to follow, but a lot of this now will fall to cities and towns too. When the individual sites are up and running, does that fall on for inspections and looking into those sites to make sure they're actually following the regulations? Does that come back to the commission, or is that a state or state?
It's a commission responsibility. So we're building a staff of about 40 people by July 1st. Of that, about a third are going to be enforcement and inspection personnel. And so before we actually finally issue a license, we're going to go inspect facilities to make sure that they're set up consistent with our regulations, and then we'll, on a regular basis, and frankly sometimes on an unplanned basis, go out and inspect to make sure that they are adhering to the regulations. That's one of the most important parts. Once we stand the industry up, inspection and enforcement is one of the most important roles that we'll play going forward.
Very similar to tobacco and alcohol then.
Correct.
with those spot inspections, it sounds like.
Yeah, we call them the secret shopper program.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Same
one of
thing.
the other things we're going to inspect is not just the facilities, but to ensure that all the safeguards are in place to ensure that nobody under 21 can get access to adult use marijuana.
Now with the regulations being out, I know I've heard you say time and again, July 1st is the date. It doesn't mean
It's the
that
expectation.
It doesn't mean that there's going to be, X amount of recreational sites available or open, on July 1st. I've heard you also say that you need to have staffing and technology in place.
Right.
I saw on your website you have 2 positions open right now. Where are you in terms of that staffing?
I think we're in pretty good shape. We got a lot of work to do, but we did an RFP for our licensing system and for our seed to sale system. We chose vendors probably about a month ago. I've seen updates in the last week of both of those systems, and they're in good shape. I ran technology companies before I took this job, and so I know that technology development projects always have issues, and whether they get done in time or not is always a little bit sketchy. But I'm feeling good. We chose really good vendors. We have a chief technology officer that came on board a couple weeks ago. We're managing these development programs very aggressively. So I feel pretty good about the technology being in place and on time. And we're staffing pretty aggressively. So there's no guarantee, but I think we're on track. We've hit every mandated deadline that we've had as a commission thus far, and I expect and intend to do so going forward.
As I said, 102 pages of regulations here, and I think as with any story that's reported by me or my colleagues, things get overlooked. Curious to hear from you, are there aspects of this regulation that you think should be talked about that aren't yet being explored?
No, I think the regulations are actually pretty good. As I said, we'll see how the industry evolves because we can put regulations in place and try to encourage people to come into the industry, but we need to see who actually applies and whose applications get accepted. So how the industry is going to evolve is a little bit unclear, but I don't think that's about regulations. I think that's just about the free market. The one thing, and I've talked about this as well, that's not in the regulations but is an issue, and it's not that we overlooked it, it's just an issue outside of the regulations, is the banking industry and trying to see if we can make this a not completely all cash business. And we can't force a bank or a credit union to actually provide cash management services in this industry. Nothing we could have done from a regulatory standpoint.
You have no authority over that.
We have no authority. So I wouldn't call that a hole in the regulations as much as a very important issue that we need to address.
And I didn't mean to imply a hole in the regulations. It was more a
it's
question
it's possible we overlooked something.
But it was more a question for us in the media. Have we overlooked? Are we not looking or asking or asking about a particular element?
I think you guys are covering it pretty well. I think that how many people apply, what's the mix of people that apply, I think that's something that we're all going to find out. You already mentioned, the cities and towns and how they respond. We've worked very collaboratively with the cities and towns. We have a process where we do our stuff in parallel to what the cities and towns need to do in terms of evaluating and approving licenses. A lot of them have put moratoriums in place, mostly going through the end of the year. Some have done outright bans, but the majority have put moratoriums in place. And that's another thing we're just going to have to see how it plays out. But I think the media is doing a pretty good job of covering those issues and identifying those issues.